Welcome into Frogs Today post-game live, coming to you after another TCU victory. TCU now 7-0, 38-28 win over Kansas State. Maggie Hale here with Johnny Fobbs and Dave Bowden. Guys, let's get right into this. First of all, let's talk stats, because oh my, 495 total offensive yards, and kind of a little unexpected, but 280 passing yards. We thought that was definitely going to be the running today, but that wasn't the case. Wind didn't trick up the Frogs.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. But might have tricked up K-State a little bit.
Yeah, I thought they came out and wanted to establish a passing game early on, right? And something we hadn't really seen all year. And we've seen Max Duggan continue to move the pocket, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tonight he came out, it was drop back pass. They struggled early with that, though, on offense. But it was the offensive line, Johnny, that was consistent for both sides all night.
Like you alluded to early in the pregame show, it was a slobber knocker. It was the battle of the O-lines. TCU came out at first, man. We went right down the field. But K-State, the O-line was dominant the whole first half, all into
Absolutely.
the last drive. And the momentum switch as Max Duggan and TCU Horned Frog offense drove down the field. And the momentum switch and going into halftime, and ultimately you see TCU O-line dominate the whole second half.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. That first touchdown by Darius Davis, obviously you saw the speed on display there, but really what they did was it was interesting because last week they ran the same play to Quentin Johnson, on a big play. They needed a big play. They ran that deep cross. They kind of picked the secondary on the deep crosser, came up with 25 yards. It was really that drive that tied the game up. It was there for Quentin Johnson. Well, now they use Johnson this week as a decoy. Yeah. Sent him over and actually created that same pick on the deep cross, now this time for Darius Davis. And it just goes to show you the amount of weapons this TCU Horned Frog team has, right? I mean, you can, on the outside, they've got slot receivers, running backs. Mm-hmm. They can really hit you in so many different areas.
Absolutely. And talking about those running back weapons, 250 rushing yards. Let's talk about it. Kendre Miller, Amari DiMarcado.
All right, Kendre Miller, man, he had a day at the office today. He came in and he actually did what he needs to do. And we talked about that in the pregame show. I alluded to the fact that the running backs need to have a great day, in which they did. Kind of slow starting out in the first half, but in the second half, man, you showed the power. And Kendre Miller, he ran hard. He earned every yard that it took tonight to get over K-State.
Yeah, there's no question. However, I want to jump into that. We talked about the offensive line. We actually got a special guest coming up right after this break. We're going to visit with A.J. Ricker, the offensive line coach. Stay right there. Sorry, I had to jump in.
No, you good, you good.
Welcome back into Frogs Today post-game live. AJ Ricker, offensive line coach, here with us right now. So, Coach, we saw a huge shift with TCU overall coming in after halftime. What did you like most from your guys in that second half?
Well, really just sustaining blocks and finishing blocks. You always make halftime adjustments. But a lot of it's just believing in the plan we have and not making the same mistakes that we did in the first half.
Coach, you saw your offensive line withstand a fresh K-State coming off a bye week. What was the message going into the game and such? And then also, too, seeing that the early pressure that the line that was getting on D-line, K-State's D-line was getting upon you, what was the message throughout the game that you gave to your O-line?
Yeah, we knew going into this game. I mean, they're good up front. I mean, don't get me wrong. And they've obviously had a couple weeks and, did some different things alignment-wise, but our thing is we have rules for every play. We're not blocking looks, and sometimes they do stuff that tests those rules. But really just believing, and I always tell the guys, all you got to do is play to your ability. Whatever that is, just play to your ability. And I challenged them the first half and probably had some kind words at halftime, and we came out and rallied and got after it.
Well, you talk about that nice conversation you had at halftime, and you mentioned a few mistakes early in the first half. Can you expound upon that a little bit? Some of the things that you had trouble with there in the first half.
Well, we had a couple mental errors. Like a couple of those pressure on the quarterback were guys that we just didn't even block. It's one thing to get beat. It's one thing to just cut guys loose, and really just winning your one-on-one battles. When you go back and look at it, and I'll probably watch the tape tonight because I won't be able to sleep. I thought we lost too many one-on-one battles, whether it's run game or pass pro, in the first half.
We continue to have running backs in this show post game, and I mean, we just talked to those guys about the toughness of those running backs. I mean, whether it be helping out in pass protection, obviously, running tough inside the tackles. How nice is it for the offensive line to have a group like that behind them that they know, and a quarterback included. I'll throw that in there as well. It's just, just a tough dude that's willing to lower his shoulder. How cool is that for an offensive line room?
I mean, that's who you want to play for, and obviously it starts with Coach Jones. He holds those guys accountable, coaches them hard. And that's one thing we do. We coach guys hard, and we want guys that want to be coached hard. But the toughness, the way those guys run, I don't see very many of them go down first contact. They take pride in it. And then obviously having a quarterback like Max, who's kind of an O-lineman in a quarterback body, we're weird. I mean, God, you want to fight for that guy.
Yeah, it's certainly fun to watch, that's for sure.
Because what's the mindset going forward for the rest of the stretch down Big 12? You know that you're going to be facing top defenses every week. So how do you get your O-line prepared for the test they're going to face every week from now on to the end, going into the November?
Well, one thing Coach Dykes instills in all of the staff and team is, and I know it's cliche-ish, but it's about us. It's about us executing plays that we've done since camp, since August. It's about us believing in each other and playing hard, finishing blocks, control what you can control, and effort. And, that stuff we don't have to coach is effort, which is refreshing. But they're all tough. I mean, at this point, they're all going to be tough, and we got to not get in our own way and just execute and shoot, have fun with it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Coach, every time we talk to Max Duggan, he's always giving praise to his offensive line, and he always talks about how sometimes he likes to take a little hit. He thinks it gives that offensive line just a little bit of, maybe a boost of confidence that the quarterback's going to take a hit too sometimes. How do you think it does make your guys feel?
I mean, they rally around him. I mean, he took some big hits. I think two of them were late tonight, but, he took two big hits. I was like, oh. But our whole thing is O-line, take pride in it, go pick your quarterback up, go pick your running back up. There's so much intangible stuff that goes into playing O-line because, look, nobody grows up saying, man, I can't wait to play O-line. It's something that we're just different. We can't play any other position, and there's probably more pride, and we take pride and have more pride than any other unit in this building.
Absolutely. Coach, it was incredible. Thank you for giving us your time today on the show. And when we come back, we've got some Sonny Dykes. Welcome back into Frogs Today post-game live. The man, the myth, the legend, the head coach, Sonny Dykes, the now 7-0 TCU football head coach. Coach, I just got to ask, what was that conversation at halftime? Your boys came out totally different and the way we love to see them.
Yeah, I thought our guys really came out and played well in the second half. Obviously, defensively, I don't think we gave up a touchdown from the 8-minute mark of the second quarter on. And so, or eight minutes remaining in the second quarter on. So, really played great defense, made some fantastic adjustments at halftime. Joe Gillespie and the defensive staff did. And our guys played with a ton of confidence in the second half and just made a bunch of plays, started getting some pressure on the quarterback and created a couple turnovers. And, we're playing complementary football. When the defense is getting stops, the offense put some drives together. I thought that drive at the end of the first half was really important. It was 28-10 at that point, didn't look very good. And we're able to have a 91-yard drive and cut it to 28-17. And, went into halftime with a little bit more confidence and then started the second half with a great drive as well and got out to 28-24 and kind of took over from there.
Coach, it's no secret. You start the week preparing for Adrian Martinez, a dual threat quarterback. He goes down early in the first quarter, and then you get a pure pocket passer in Will Howard. Talk about the conversation you have to have with the defense to get adjusted to him.
Yeah. Got to give Kansas State a lot of credit. I mean, they kind of had a seamless transition from Adrian to Will. And, Adrian Martinez is a heck of a football player, and typically when you lose a guy like that, you don't execute as well as they did. And they had a great game plan and did a nice job and, got us on our heels a little bit and changed some things, obviously. They created some good matchups and took advantage of them, and he threw the ball exceptionally well in the first half. I think the big thing was we didn't pressure him, and once we started pressuring him in the second half, you could see a little bit of inexperience and created some turnovers for us and allowed us to get back in the game.
Coach, a lot has been made about the adjustments after this game on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, it looks like K-State came out with a bunch of different looks coming off a bye week defensively and dropping guys in and out and whatnot. What are some of those things you had to change at halftime for the offensive line in particular?
Yeah, as you said, they had a bye week, and so I thought they had a really good game plan on both lines of scrimmage, and it took us a little bit to take it all in and make some adjustments and figure it out. Once our guys did, I thought we played better, and our coaching staff did a really good job making those adjustments. And what we were able to do tonight was consistently run the ball, and that was the one thing that we were seeing a lot of different looks, and they were spinning safeties and disguising coverage and doing some stuff that was hard on us at times. But once we were able to hand the ball off, and Kendre and the offensive line were just so physical, and it just allowed us to keep ahead of the chain, sustain some drives. And it was good to see Jared Wiley start to emerge. He made a bunch of big plays today. Max played like Max. Played like one of the best quarterbacks in college football, which is what he is. And it's just fun to see him playing with all that confidence. And played really tough and physical and carried the ball and when he had to, and really took care of the ball. I think the thing that we did tonight so well is we kind of beat Kansas State at their game. If you look at it, we had no turnovers. We had very few penalties. We won the time of possession. We rushed for more yards than they did. And those are all kind of trademarks of their football team, which allow them to win. And we were able to do those things today. Yeah, and one of the trademarks for them is toughness. And it's got to give you a lot of pride. You talked about Max and his effort tonight. But just it seems to me that it permeates throughout your entire team. And you've got a skilled football team out there, but you have a really tough football team out there. Yeah, I think that's what makes this group special, honestly, is we do. As you said, we got a lot of good players that can make plays and do things with the football. But at the same time, we got a really good offensive front, got a really good defensive front. We play physical on the back end. The linebackers are physical. Our receivers block. Our running backs run hard. So we've got a tough, hard-nosed football team that's also capable of making a bunch of big plays, and I think that's what's given us a chance to be where we are.
Coach, second week that the team has faced adversity, getting down the scorecard early in the first half. Talk about the maturity of your team being able to stay calm under pressure and battle back and come on top after.
Yeah, that's kind of what we talked about at halftime. We said, look, we've done this before. We did it last week. We know how to do it. We're built for this, and we really are. That's a big emphasis of ours is winning the second half of football games, being the most physical team. It's our strength and conditioning program. It's the nutrition. It's the rest. It's the recovery. It's all the things extra that our guys do outside of football to allow them to get into the second half and play their very best for 60 minutes. And I thought it showed last week and certainly showed this week as well. And just really proud of these guys.
Coach, I can't say it enough. You've created an incredible culture here, and we're excited to see what you guys do next week. We're going to go ahead and get you out of here. Next up, we've got Johnny Hodges, so you want to stay with us.
Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Welcome back into Frogs Today post-game live. As promised, Johnny Hodges here with us. So, Johnny, talk to me about this defense. Oh, my gosh. You guys, Sonny just talked about it. Since the 8-minute mark in the second quarter, no points.
Yeah, I think we just started settled down a little bit. People started just doing their job, making it simple, and good things happen when you do what you're supposed to do. And that's what happened, I'd say, after once we settled in.
Hey, Johnny, before that 8-minute mark in the second quarter, what's the message that you on the sideline, the defense communicated? Because they got up on y'all on a couple of scores, but y'all never wavered, man. Y'all stayed stout. What's the message that y'all communicated throughout the defense about how y'all want to turn over the pace of the game and get, that momentum back swinging towards your?
Yeah, I'd say it was just staying calm, staying relaxed, like not freaking out. Things weren't going our way. There's a lot of busts and coverages and in run fits, and you just want to kind of start freaking out and getting angry at someone else. But you just have to really take a deep breath, look at yourself, and be like, hey, let me just do my job one play at a time. And then next thing you know, everyone just started doing their job, and we started having a lot of fun.
Johnny, Coach Dykes just talked about sort of beating K-State at their own game, meaning physical. It became a power game there to the end on both sides. And really, to me, that speaks to you and that linebacking core. How much fun was it going in, knowing that it was going to be a power run game, and you guys were going to be a huge part of it?
Yeah, we knew it was going to be a man's game. Like, you had to button your chin strap a little tighter, put extra pads on. But we knew it was a great challenge, a team we hadn't beaten in a while, a team with a great offensive line, really physical, and they're going to hit or get hit. So that's kind of the mentality we went in with.
I love it. That's why we have you here, for quotes like that, man. It's great. But Coach Dykes also talked about going in, and normally at halftime you make little tweaks and things like that. Don't overhaul anything, but he did mention that you made some tremendous adjustments defensively. What are some of the things at half that you talked about that you had to get taken care of in the second half?
Just a little bit of schema stuff. I mean, they were pulling linemen to one side and then doing QB counter to the other. So just in like one situation we talked about, but other than that, it was just kind of calming down, doing your job. It wasn't anything that they were doing that was getting us out of position. It was more just us hurting ourselves.
Johnny, knowing that you that we have going on for the rest of the schedule, man, you're going to have tests. That TCU, you started the year being a hunter, and now you are the huntee. How are y'all going to go forward knowing that every offense that you face is going to give you their best shot What's the mindset that's going forward in these next down the stretch, these next few games?
Just getting better every day, getting better every practice, getting better every game. We haven't put together a full game defensively yet. We put together a bunch of good moments. I think that's just kind of locking in earlier in the week, getting more used to the game plan, blitzes, stuff like that. But just taking it one day at a time and enjoying the moment, living in the moment, not getting too freaked out about games 3-4 weeks ahead. Just getting excited for a crazy environment next week that I'm sure we're going to be in, and focusing on beating a solid West Virginia team, just one game at a time.
All right, and a little bit early of a scouting report, but next week, what do you think the focus is going to be?
I can't lie, I don't really know.
We got to let them enjoy this one, Maggie.
Come on, I'm itching to know.
What I've seen just on Twitter and watching a couple games, they have a really elusive back. He can run it hard and he's shifty, and they have JT Daniels, who's a big name, throws the ball. But honestly, I can't tell you about the scout report yet. Just worried about tonight.
Caught him off guard, and he still knew what to say. What a guy. And up next, we have Jarrett Wiley. Johnny, thank you so much for joining
thank
us.
you.
Welcome back into Frogs Today post-game live. Jarrett Wiley here. He's got some fans, but he's standing here with us. Jarrett, I just have to let you know, from the beginning of this show, Jamie Plunkett has been calling this every single game your game. And today, it was your game. Those catches, man, what was going on in your head? I mean, you had it on the ball today.
Just super excited. Just to be able to play a big role in this offense. During the game, you don't really think about it, but once you get a chance to reflect, you feel really good about what you did.
Absolutely, you should feel good.
Jared, second week, man, did you have positive production in the offense? Talk about going against this K-State defense, knowing that they were well rested off a bye week and knowing that you was going to face a stout defense.
Yeah, we knew that they were going to give us their best shot, especially in the first half. They're obviously more fresh than we were. But just to be able to weather that storm and then come back in the second half and do what we did, super proud of the guys.
Jerry, you've really been a huge part of this offense. Maybe not on the stat sheet, but I don't think people realize, how much they use the tight end here in the role you've had. How big is it for you as an older guy, a veteran player, to come in and be a team first guy the way you've been this year?
I think I've kind of grown into that. I think I've matured into it just as I've gotten older and played more. But I think that every team needs a team full of team guys. The minute guys start getting selfish and stuff like that, you start to see cracks in your shield, so to speak. So I kind of live by that, and I try to do that day in and day out.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you keep doing that, eventually your time comes, and it did tonight, obviously, right? And I think, another thing, the theme overall has been, and I think it's from, whether it's Max or the running backs to the offensive lines, obviously it's the tight end. It's just a team full of tough dudes. I mean, you guys are playing tough. You're playing power football. You're getting it done up front, and I feel like that's just carrying out throughout the whole team. How much pride does that give you as a tight end to be part of that?
A big amount of pride. That's been our mentality from the start of camp, really to the start of spring. But just to see what we did before the season kind of come to fruition, it makes you happy just to be able to sit back and just like I said, just kind of live in the moment a little bit.
You still got a tough schedule down the road and such. How do you stay focused, looking forward, knowing that every defense is going to give you their best? Everybody's going to be coming and giving you a shot every time. But like you said, you have been showing up in these last couple of weeks and such, man. But you are emerging as a star and such, man. But how do you keep yourself motivated, man, to keep on producing every game?
You do the same thing this coming up week as you did for week 1 against Colorado. You keep your head down, keep grinding. Obviously it's a long season. It's it feels a little bit longer. We had an early bye week, but it's like I said, it's a long season. So it's a grind, and you just got to keep going.
And we talked a lot about this defensive adjustment that happened at halftime. There was also an offensive adjustment. What was that conversation at half?
It's very calm at halftime. I think a lot of people probably think that we're in there throwing helmets and stuff. It's not like that at all.
Okay, thanks for letting the people know. We were all wondering.
No, we're in there just trust the game plan. We just had to execute better in the first half, and we came back in the second half and really did that.
And we talked to Sonny a lot about the culture that he's created. What do you think has changed?
It's a big deal. Just outside looking in, I think that everybody that's here is completely bought into what they're preaching to us every day. And like I said earlier, you need that to have winning teams and the great teams. They do the little things right, and they're buying into what their coaches are preaching. So I think that we've done that very, very good.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in the end zone again next weekend.
Appreciate it.
And when we come back, Kendre Miller is joining us. Welcome back into Frogs Today post-game live. Kendre Miller joining us now. Kendre, we talked to Coach Ricker earlier, and he talked a lot about how the running backs have this kind of toughness where they're not a first contact down kind of mentality. How do you think that affects you guys when you play?
I think in a game like this, it makes, a big impact because, Kansas State, they've always been physical since I've been here. And, we knew this was going to be a physical game because, that's what they're made of. And Coach Sonny Dykes, he told us all week we got to be the more physical team. So, Coach Jones, he's been a big help and, first contact, don't go down. So, I feel like he's really elevated our game.
Absolutely.
Kendre, it looks like every week, man, you're bringing your lunch pail to the office and such, man. Talk about the adjustments you have to make because it seems like Kansas State early up their defense, they were getting a little bit pressure, no really winning windows. But talk about the adjustments that you have to make to, end up getting your big day.
Really, in a game like this, it's kind of, I was frustrated early, stuff wasn't going how we wanted, but, I just stayed calm, patient, just like the rest of the team, when we got down 28-10 or whatever. But, I just stayed patient and, I let the game come to me, so I don't really panic. So I just stay chill all the time.
Yeah, and that's what you're made of, or at least it seems to be, that you've got this calming presence to you. It really kind of seems that permeates throughout the whole team for you, right? I mean, the offensive line, they made slight adjustments, but you guys just keep churning it out. How important is that for the whole team to just kind of keep their composure throughout halftime and know that you're going to get the thing done at the end of the day?
It's a big deal because if the coaches, it really starts with the coaches because the coaches are calm. The players are calm. And Coach Dykes, he does a very good job during halftime. He's calm, chill, just encourages us, telling us, we're going to go kill it out there the second half. We've done it the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, and going into this one, you talk about being a physical game. There's also a lot been made about Deuce Vaughn, who's obviously a really talented, really good running back. But, if I'm being fair, I'm not sure enough was made about Kendre Miller, right? And so how cool is it for you on that stage? I know you don't play against another running back, but to kind of, hey, man, make your name known as well here on the national stage.
Yeah, really this year, I kind of been, like in the shadows past 2 years, just staying down. But, when your number called, you got to produce. And, every week it's just about producing. Who's going to produce? So, it's just another opportunity on the biggest stage for me just to show my talent.
Man, knowing that you are a physical runner, how do going into this last stretch of the season, how do you continue, man, to put together these yards? Because you earn every yard that you earn every yard on every play, it seems like. But how do you keep yourself fresh? How do you keep your mental fresh and such going down the stretch now?
Really just staying in the weight room, in the past years, I didn't take it serious during the season, so I had, a couple of injuries. But, just staying in the weight room, taking nutrition seriously. So, really, I think that's keeping me healthy, if we're being completely honest.
All right, Kendre, a little birdie told me that the College Game Day crew, 3 out of 5 of them picked K-State to win today. What do you think about everyone continuing to write this team off?
We always kind of been, down. I always pick last since I've been here. But, our team is, mature. We block all that out, We just got a mature team, physical. I mean, it ain't too much to say really about it. We just handle business on Saturdays.
Absolutely, and they can't write you guys off for much longer. I mean, 7-0. Come on. Thank you so much for your time. And up next, we've got Max Duggan. Welcome back into Frogs Today post-game live. Max Duggan here. He's got a little crowd for him. You know, well-deserved. Today, Max, you played an incredible game. I mean, just talking stats alone, 3 touchdowns. And you just played an incredible game. Talk to me about how you got prepared for today's game.
Yeah, I think it was, we knew it was a big game coming in, and I think just the guys around me did a great job of playing together. O-line, receivers, running backs, coaching staff, defense. So I think everyone just kind of came together, knew it was a big game, had the good mindset coming in. We were able to, get the win against a good K-State team.
Max, the second week, man, you come in and you've been down early and such. Talk about the mindset and the message that you give into your team going into halftime, and also you being able to display composure all throughout the game, man. Talk about your message to the team, and then also too where you're saying to yourself along the way.
Yeah, we need to do a better job probably starting fast, probably getting a little more points on the board, help our defense out a little bit. But I think just the mindset, we were in a good spot. It was a good spot we wanted to be in. There's no panic. We were confident in ourselves as an offense to kind of get things going. I think our coaching staff did a good job of, instilling that confidence at halftime too, making the right adjustments. But just playing our game, just kind of calming down, playing our game, we were moving the ball, just kind of stalling out, doing some stuff that we weren't used to. But there was just no panic. There was a lot of confidence in the locker room, though.
Coming off, K-State was coming off that bye week, and saw it looked like you had a bunch of different looks out there in the first half. Was there anything out there that you didn't expect or prepare for throughout the week that K-State showed you in the first half?
A little different coverage, kind of on the first couple drives. They were stunning a lot, moving a lot with their front and with the linebackers doing a little kind of couple games that were giving us a little bit of issues up front. And I wasn't doing a great job of helping the O-line out, kind of patting the ball back there and not getting the ball out. But, eventually we kind of got used to it, kind of got the rhythm, got the flow of what they were trying to do against us. We were able to make the adjustments and kind of go from there.
I listened to Wes Harris talk this week leading up to this game, and he brought your name up, and one of the things he talked about, and this one goes a long way, I think, along the offensive line, but just he mentioned how they blow an assignment or something like that. Like, you're never in their face. You're always encouraging those guys and kind of play the next play mentality. Is that something that's really intentional for you, that you make sure that, look, these guys will take care of business if you just treat them right and praise them as much as you can? Yeah,
you got to love up on those guys. I mean, they're fine every single day, fine every single game. And, they never get the recognition that a lot of people get, never get the praise when they win. It's usually, O-line gets, kind of the blame. So, you got to love up on those guys. Those guys, treat me well. They take care of me. And, I got plenty of confidence in them. And I think that's a big thing is in a game of just continue to put confidence in them, continuing to love them up. We got this. It's you and me. It's not, you versus me or anything like that. But, I'm proud of all those guys up front tonight. They did a great job.
Max, don't want to keep you long, man. Talk about the weapons that you have on the offense, man. You have a good host of running backs, man. You have a staple of receivers and such, man, and a good tight end. Talk about how their production has been able to make your job just a little bit easier down the stretch.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun playing in this offense. You got guys all around you. You got different skill types. You got, Savion and Q outside, big bodies that can run. You got Tay and Didi, in the slots, Gunner. Then, you got Amari, Kendre in the backfield that can do the thing. And then you got Wiley that comes in. Just adds a different dynamic, everywhere. There's a lot of places that you got to defend. Makes your job easy. And I think the best thing about those guys is that, they never complain. Never complain about touches. Never complain about getting the ball, things of that sort. So they just do a good job coming to practice, getting better, and helping each other out. And they're all happy for everybody when everyone's playing a good game.
And we got to talk to him earlier, but Jared Wiley, he finally got his shot today. Today was his game. Talk to me about how you guys prepared in practice. Was that something that was clicking during the week, or was it today?
Yeah, I think Wiley is just a different skill set, and he's so dynamic. He's a big reason why we've been successful. But him being able to play a nub tight end, put his hand in the dirt, and then being able to have a route tree and go get matched up with safeties and linebackers really adds a different dynamic and helps us kind of get him in those matchups. And tonight you saw it; those matchups came alive. He was able to kind of get cut loose a couple times, make some big time plays. And he's a big reason why we've been successful on offense.
Absolutely, Max. Thank you so much for joining us. And when we come back, we've got a full game breakdown. Don't leave. Welcome back into Frogs Today post-game live. Frogs had a great game today. We've discussed that in depth with all the players and those playmakers that made it happen. But some stuff went down in the Big 12 today, and Dave's got all of that.
Yeah, listen, today was a huge day for TCU and all of the Big 12, honestly. You saw Texas Tech win over West Virginia 48-10. And, I think West Virginia coming off a loss like that at home is going to be yet another challenge for this Horned Frogs team. I mean, they out in Morgantown is never an easy place to play. No. But, they'll be ready. There really is no bad teams in this league. You saw Texas go down today. So now, as we suspected, in conference, they're a 2-loss team. Obviously Kansas State takes their first loss in the conference. Oklahoma State has that win over Texas. So now they're kind of back, and TCU right now has sole possession of first place in the conference, and just as we all predicted going into this season, right?
Absolutely, we knew that was coming.
I think the biggest thing that we take away right now is that with TCU is that remaining healthy down the stretch and such, man, is that the last couple of weeks, including today and last week against Oklahoma State, that we started slow, as what Max Duggan alluded to. So making sure this next week going to West Virginia, knowing that they're going to have a chip on their shoulder, they have a top 10 team coming in town, they're going to give us their best. We have to start fast next week. We really do.
No, I agree, and because you can only have so many of those games in the bag throughout the season, right? And they were able to, twice now in a row, they were down 11 points, the same differential both games. And to their credit, to come back and do what they did, it was really impressive. But you can't ride that way the entire year, right? And so it's got to be a chance, like you said. Start fast is such a cliche, but it's something that is rooted in truth, because you can't put that much pressure on a defense to have no points from 8 minutes in the second quarter on. You don't see that in the Big 12 very often, and for them to do that today. Again, I think the theme overall, my takeaway from not only this game, but really up until this point of the season, and we talked about it with Coach Dykes, we talked about it with a lot of the players, it really goes back to that word toughness. I mean, this is a tough football team. And again, the Big 12 is not known for that, right? It's not known. We're not talking about the Big 10 of old, but this is, I put up this team against anyone in terms of their grit and their toughness, coming off the football on both sides of the line of scrimmage, bringing in heavy personnel. And then honestly, you see their skill positions blocking down the field. Obviously, we know, it's been talked about over and over again about Max Duggan and his toughness level. And I think when you have a quarterback like that, nobody can make excuses, and nobody said, "Hey, I'm not going to sacrifice myself." When you see a quarterback playing the way he does, lowering his shoulder, taking big hits, popping right back up, and rallying his offense, and so the defensive guys, I think they feed off of that as well. You see it on the sideline, and so this is one tough football team, and I think when they've overcome adversity now, they've learned from that, and so this is a battle-tested team, and I think really scary here down the stretch, even though they got quite a challenge coming up.
Yeah, I believe it. So it's a true testament, though, that it started back in the spring when Coach Dykes came in, going into the offseason and such, man, the offseason program, going into the spring and then going to the summer and such, man, this team has bought into what Coach Dykes and the coaching staff have laid out for them. So it's good to see that this is a mature team as well. They have got down these tonight and last week as well, but they have been able to show up. They have been able to fight back. They have been able to overcome adversity. So I'm excited to see, man, what this TCU team is going to do. And like you just said, Coach, this team is scary, man. It's scary. I think we're going to make the noise. I think the nation is going to be. They're going to come try to find out what's going on in Fort Worth.
What is going on in Funky Town? And you mentioned health. Staying healthy this week is going to be a huge thing. Losing Marcel Brooks last week was a tough one. And we see a ton of teams who come in here looking a little banged up. And, TCU just lays it on them. We saw that today with Martinez. So, got to stay healthy this week. That's point blank period.
Yeah, no doubt. I think they're in a good position when it comes to that. Like, they've had some injuries that you just can't avoid. It's not wear and tear, right? Mm-hmm. And because of their strength program, nutrition, recovery, they put a premium on those things. Because really, they had the bye week so early, this year, and they had 10 weeks of straight football. in a really tough conference that they had to be prepared for. And I think overall they're handling that part well. And they're a little thin in a couple spots, like you alluded to. But that's college football, right? I think,
that's
and so
football in general.
that's right. Yeah, it is. And so I think they got to be able to continue to take care of themselves. And they clearly have bought into that part of it. You're talking about the buy-in. I completely agree with you. And I think a big part of that is they say, okay, this coaching staff and this nutrition strength staff, they take care of us, right? And they know that, and it's working. They see the results. And Coach Dykes talked about this at one point as well. I think it might have been 2 weeks ago. He just said, look, not all, he's taken over now, I think his third football program and from the start, and not all of them buy in this quickly, right? And so to have a team that buys in, I think it's because they're seeing the results and they're seeing it work. And certainly at 7-0, it's working on the field as well.
Just might be working a little bit. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap up today's show. Once again, an incredible win for the Frogs. And next week, Morgantown, it's going to be 11 a.m.
11 a.m. kickoff, yes. I mean, listen, guys, we can't take this for granted. 7-0, I mean, it's just unbelievable. And to fight back, to play tough, and to come out and win. Now they go on the road. Their reward is out in Morgantown, a tough place to play. But again, this has been a lot of fun today, and looking forward to next week as well.
Absolutely. Well, for Frogs Today Post Game Live, Maggie Hale, Dave Bowden, and Johnny Fobbs.